Hi, Rex Olson here, and in this video I'm going to show you how to set up a simple two-box or double box effect using TriCaster comps. Let's take a look. First I want to show you the effect that we're going for. You can see here I have a couple shots in a double box or two box, a newsreader, and a video playback. And when we go through the comp effect, we can see that we can bring the newsreader out full and push them back into the two box, and then we can bring our video package out full and push that back into the two box as well. Now here are the elements that we're working with. It's just I have this virtual set comp set up on ME2, and we have what would be our video package on DDR2. So I'm going to set this up on ME3, start fresh, and show it to you built from the ground up. So to start this off, I'm going to go to ME3. And one other element that we have is in the buffer I have a background, just a simple swirl type background image. So going to the buffer bank in the TriCaster, I'm going to use that as our backdrop, putting that on the A bus of ME3. So we have our backdrop. Then in key number 1, I'm going to use the keyers for the boxes. Key number 1, I'm going to put Mix Effect 2, bring that up, and there's Mix Effect 2. And then in key number 2, I'm going to have DDR2, which is already there by default. The first thing we want to do is start off by setting up the double box, what we want to end up with. So in this case, we're going to start with a small horizontal box for the newsreader, and then a full aspect 16:9 box for the video playback. We'll start by fading in key 1 of ME3. And then I'm going to change the size and position. We'll zoom this down and move it over to the left. Let's zoom this down to 63%. I already know that that's where I want to be. And then I'm going to position it -113 on the x-axis. And then go down here to crop. I'm going to crop the left and right side 30%. Now we've got a horizontal box. I'm going to add a border to that, and I have one here, silver thin horizontal box. Drop that in. We've got to make sure we turn borders on. All right, there's our left box. Next we'll bring in key number 2, and we'll size that down as well. We're going to zoom that also to 63% on the X and Y. And then we'll move it on the X to 46.7 to line it up. I did this earlier, so I know what the numbers are. And then we'll also bring a border in, and we'll give it also the silver emboss. This one is just the regular full size. All right, and so this is our final comp. This is where we want to end up with everything. Now let's save it in our comp panel. And we'll do that in number 1 here. And there we've saved it. All right, so the next frame, the next keyframe that I want to create is our newsreader out full. So we'll go to the configuration panel for key number 1, and we'll just reset that. Okay. Now look at our program output. That's not exactly what we're looking for. We have an issue here, and what that is Z priority. The way the keyers work in TriCaster is it's a layered system. So our bus is, think of it as the bottom layer. Keyer number 1 goes on top of that, key number 2 on top of that, key number 3 on top of that, key number 4 on top of all of it. So right now what we have is we have key number 2 laying over the top of key number 1. So that's a problem for us. The way we can get around that is in the ME2 Z priority. If we just change that to 1, in this case, it takes care of our problem. Go back up to comp, take a keyframe, and now let's see what we've got. Well, we've got nothing. What happened? Let's take a look. If we go to our key number 1, there's an option called Apply with Comp. Need to make sure that that's turned on. Let's also make sure it's turned on. It's already on for key 2. And now when we go to our keyframe number 1, it acts the way we expect it to. So now we have the box on the left squeezing down, and when we select keyframe number 2, it comes out full just the way we'd like to see it. Now there's one little issue here that we're seeing. As it squeezes back, if you look on program right there, it snaps down, and that's not good. We don't want that. So to fix that, we need to go to keyer number 1 configuration panel in our final comp and also change the Z priority to 1 for key number 1. Then we need to resave that comp. Now when we come out full, we don't have that little snap in the end there. It's nice and smooth. We can see that it just ends nice and smooth. Now let's set up the keyframe for our video window. And to do that, we go to our key number 2 and open the configuration panel. Hit reset on the position, and here we have the same problem in reverse. But we know how to deal with that. So we go to our key number 1, and we drop the Z priority back down to 0. Then we'll go to comp and save this comp. I'm going to save it in number 4. Now I'm going to go back to keyframe number 1 to our set position, and then go to keyer number 1 and set the Z priority to 0, and then save that in number 3 keyframe. Okay, so now we have 2 keyframes that seemingly have the same composition in it. But the big difference is that we have the Z priorities set up so that we can bring the associated box out without that flipping problem. So for instance, if we want to bring out our newsreader, we use keyframe number 1. To squeeze it back, we use keyframe number 1. Then we have to go to keyframe 3. Nothing happens on program, but now when we bring out the second box, it comes out nice and smooth without snapping. So that's the way to get around that Z axis thing. And this is the same case if you're doing 2 box, 3 box, 4 box, or however many boxes. Now those of you that are familiar with the TriCaster, you might be wondering why I'm not using the layering system. For instance, I'll go to ME4, and for those of you that are familiar, you could use a 4-layer effect to do the same type of thing, right? To at least get 3 boxes in a background. Well, the problem with that is we do not have that Z-axis adjustment in the layers of a 4-layer effect. So for this type of an effect, for the multiple box, and you want to bring them out separately, you really need to use the downstream keyers for those MEs to make it work properly. Well, that's it for now. I hope you liked it. Please subscribe to my channel and look for other videos coming down the road. Thanks.